Hello everyone. Good evening once again. Sorry for the trouble. थोड़ा सा technical आ गई थी, so that live stream got ended. Uh, so without further delay, let me just give you the background. So today's session is only for kids, which is the topic of today's live session is Corona in children. So I have invited Dr. Anuj Dhama, who's a senior consultant pediatrician for more than 15 years of clinical experience in pediatrics. So he did his graduation from PGIMS and post graduation from Safdarjung Hospital, New Delhi. He has been associated with many reputed hospitals, including Max Hospital, including Max Hospital, uh, uh, Rockland Hospital, New Delhi. He has worked as consultant pediatrics as Alchemist Hospital, Gurgaon, and visiting consultant and courtesy consultant to Cloud9 and Artemis Hospital, Gurgaon. He is presently practicing at Sona Road, Gurgaon, which is a Sapphire Mall on second floor, which is Medizone. I think I can't. So let's welcome Dr. Anuj. One second, there is some problem.
हेलो हेलो
या हाय डॉक्टर धामा.
हाय
सॉरी आज थोड़ा सा बड़ा इशू हो रहा है आज.
यस
टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम स्टार्टिंग में, सो फर्स्ट टाइम हुआ है. So I have already given your introduction, so let me just give you the background to all the viewers. So I have invited Dr. Dhama. He's a senior consultant pediatrics for more than 15 years of clinical experience in pediatrics. He has done his graduation from PGIMS and post graduation from Safdarjung Hospital, New Delhi. He has been associated with many reputed hospitals, including Max Hospital, Rockland, and New Delhi. So he has worked as consultant pediatrics at Alchemist Hospital and visiting consultant in various hospitals and a courtesy consultant to Cloud9 and Artemis Hospital, Gurgaon. He is presently practicing at Sona Road, Gurgaon, which is in Sapphire Mall, Sector 49, on second floor, Medizone. So let's welcome Dr. Dhama. Thanks for taking out time for sharing your expertise on this. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody.
Let's start with, without further delay, let's start with the topic. So how this recently heard like how this COVID-19 coronavirus is different in children.
Yes, the news is positive actually. As we already know, there is a lot of mortality, morbidity in the adults, but in children it is a relatively mild disease. Normally it lasts for 3 to 5 days, and most of the kids, most means more than 95% of the kids, they settle down after that. Secondly, the presentation is a bit different from the adults. Different means mostly what we hear is anybody having high grade fever with cough, cold, and all those things, they are more commonly heard. But in children, approximately 25% of the kids, they present with stomach related manifestations like vomiting or loose motion, or sometimes it's just plain loss of appetite or loss of smell and taste. That is it. So slightly different presentation. One has to be alert. If there is any history of contact with a corona patient, then one should always keep this as a first differential diagnosis. So this most probably, if child is having anything abnormal, it may be related to corona. So you can't say कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, doctor, you are wrong. It can be there with any of the symptoms of what you can think of as such.
Okay.
Hmm.
So that's bring me to next question, which is somebody have asked offline how to prevent this from getting infected.
Right. Two things. One is a general recommendation, like one has to stay indoors. Just everybody knows SMS, social distancing, mask, and sanitization. Second is once in case somebody in the household has already got infected with the corona, then what? Even inside the home, one has to use the mask if you are infected. Secondly, you need to sanitize all the articles, everything. A corona patient has to isolate within the home also, not from the society, but within the whole of home. And it means effectively as well as the washrooms as such. Even the washing of the utensils, everything has to be away from the kids as such. So that way we can prevent the spread of corona within the household in case somebody within the household is actually affected by corona.
Okay. So so is it that dangerous abhi ya abhi it's still under control ya abhi aane wala hai kya hai, what is the status?
Already the talk is there about the third wave of the coronavirus, though the still the second wave is on. The absolute numbers they are already going down, but in spite of all this, the absolute number is still more than 2 lakh cases per day. That is hugely. So, like kids, they are approximately 12% of the kids are affected of the total numbers.
हाँ
So,
जी.
in case we calculate that thing, we come out to a figure of something around 20,000 kids every day we are getting approximately. So, still the numbers are not low; they are significant. Important is like the most stress is on the adults. So sometimes the kids are missed also. So we are not testing every kid for the corona. In case somebody in the household is having corona and the patient or a kid is symptomatic, the parents they avoid to go for the testing. They take it as corona. So those are not counted actually. So absolute numbers are still very significant. One has to take all the precautions, maybe at least for next few months at least, to be safe, on a safer side.
So, Dr. Dama, how this is different from adults? Like, if diagnosis point of view, say.
Right. In the adults, almost in all the WhatsApp groups, you get a very standard diagnostic manual, a standard treatment manual. In children, it is slightly different. Like you can't pick the every child every now and then one thing. Secondly, taking a sample from children itself is a tough job. So first, in case a child is not having much of symptoms or they have mild symptoms, low grade fever of 1 or 2 days or cough and cold, so even without going for the investigations, you take it as corona. Secondly, most of the investigations in the adults, like we go for ferritin, D dimer, and so many investigations, they are not usually done in children. We stick to simple blood profile and CRP, and that is what we monitor. Third, unduly people place a lot of stress on the CT score on your corona COVID-19 report, the blood, the nasal RT-PCR report. So mostly that is not relevant, especially in the case of the children, because they don't give the sample properly. So the CT score is going to vary a lot as such. So don't think too much about what is the score, sir. It is 15, it is 35. This is the first question when the parents they ask me about the report as such. If it is positive, it is positive. If it is negative, it is negative. Nothing more than that, nothing less than that. Then the second common question is, Jesse CT scan hua, sir. When should we go for the CT scan of the baby? We hardly ever advise CT scan for a baby. In case any pediatric patient requires CT scan, that means that patient has to be admitted in the hospital. I haven't yet ordered any CT scan in the OPD for any pediatric patient. Though I have been consulting for the adult patients, but for pediatric, I haven't asked for any CT scan. But yes, for adults, it is required actually.
Okay, thanks for answering. जैसे I mean, people are scared कि बच्चों को के chances हैं ज़्यादा और so people are requesting to आंसर कि हाउ टू मैनेज एट होम. अगर उनको घर पे अगर बाई चांस किसी को हो जाता है तो घर पे क्या क्या कर सकते हैं, स्पेशली फॉर किड्स. बड़ों का तो सबको पता ही है.
If the kid is getting infected.
हाँ जी.
Okay. So once the once the patient has been diagnosed, kid has been diagnosed as suffering from corona, that means has been infected from corona. So mild cases, they are managed at home. First thing, don't panic. 95% chance is there that nothing is going to happen. Your baby, your patient is going to recover within 5 days or sometimes 5 days or something. Sometimes it may actually happen that the illness will be slightly prolonged. Then your pediatric will advise you accordingly what medications have to be given. Don't self-medicate the kids. Uh, there are a few consultations where even before contacting me, the patient was on ivermectin, was on azithrol, was on Medrol. You say any medicine, almost 5-6 drugs. Secondly, not every patient requires all those multivitamins, or not every patient requires ivermectin, zinc. If it is required, your pediatric will tell you that these are required. Okay. What is important from your perspective is isolation, one thing, nutrition, that means ki appropriate food intake and liquid intake of the kid, and monitoring. Like in the adults also, in the pediatric cases also, we need to monitor the oxygen saturation of the babies from maybe day 3 onwards. I usually tell the patients, because mostly day 1, day 2, there is not much of an issue except for a high grade fever. That is the most important problematic thing in initial few days. So beyond that, yes, monitoring has to be required. Second, the pediatric patient, they are not going to tell you that they are having a breathing difficulty or any issue like that. So your pediatric will also advise, but as a general advice, see, temperature charting should be done at least 6 hourly. Whether the fever spikes, they are coming at regular interval, or the gap has increased. Is the baby breathing faster than normal as such? Or if you feel like there is unduly heaviness in the breathing, the baby is putting undue effort while breathing. And lastly, high grade fever with cold hand
Right.
and feet or blue hand and feet, that means that's an urgency. Your baby is really sick. He may not be managed at home. He has to go to the hospital, whether it is day 1 or day 5.
Okay. So these were the मतलब like highlights की जैसे मतलब थोड़ा सा difference है from the adults, but more or less the
The
जो
point
हमारी
is,
precautions है.
the baby is not going to tell you that he's getting sick. Like if I have a breathing issue, so I can tell that I am having some sort of issue. Sometimes the kid is not coughing, but actually he's having a breathing difficulty. So that way one has to be watchful as such.
राइट. आजकल तो वैसे भी ज़्यादातर सबको पता चल गया कि पल्स ऑक्सीमीटर क्या है और प्रोडक्ट थर्मामीटर क्या है.
Yes,
सो
problem
पल्स
with pulse
ऑक्सीमीटर भी
oximetry.
बच्चों के लिए क्या यूज कर सकते हैं?
Problem with pulse oximetry is like sometimes we can compensate low oxygen saturation by breathing fast or putting in some effort. So it may be late actually falling oxygen saturation. So one has to be careful whether the breathing pattern is normal or not. And secondly, pulse oximetry is not the ultimate thing. If your child is having a very high grade fever and he's going into shock, so maybe by that time the oxygen saturation may be maintained as such. So one has to look for the other signs also.
Okay. So that's I mean different approach, right?
From the
And
adults, exactly.
ठीक है. So somebody have asked, are risk group in children for any kind of complications?
Yes, as I have already told you, 95% are mostly mild. Among those 5%, the high risk groups are those who have a past history of any respiratory issues, like those who are asthmatic, those who are allergic kids. Otherwise, those who are on some long-term medication, like there are some cancer patients, or with chronic kidney diseases like nephrotic syndrome, other chronic liver disease patients, or other stomach related issues, or those who are sorry, those who do fall under the category of autistic spectrum disease, ASD, pervasive developmental disorders, because they are not going to tell you anything. You have to take care of the things. If there is slight change in any of the normal observations, then you have to tell your pediatric, this is a fresh change, what we need to do next.
Okay. So, I mean, apart from this, so there are many patients who are looking for, especially expecting mothers, right? So they've asked me, so if you have this live session, so please ask this question, which is breastfeeding during this COVID. Can we, what are the, I mean, any tips for that? Any?
Yes, the standard recommendation by the Indian Academy of Pediatrics by the WHO as well as American Academy of Pediatrics is to continue with the breastfeeding. Precaution is hand hygiene. You need to wash your hands properly, and you should snugly fit your mask when you need to breastfeed your baby. So isolation of the baby from the mother is generally not allowed unless for some other reason. One thing. Secondly, those parents who want, we don't want to go ahead, then express the breast milk, and then you can give it through the bottle or spoon, whatever way you want to feed it as such. But it has to continue. Actually, it is beneficial to the baby. Like once you are infected, so you acquire antibodies that against that infection. Those antibodies, they are transmitted from the mother to the baby through the breast milk. So it is beneficial for the baby.
Yeah, Dr. Dhamas Sahil from LinkedIn, he's asking, what should we give? I mean, food about diet for children, food diet.
Okay.
So there is a spelling mistake.
Like few things about the nutritional intake of the babies. One, those who are not affected, so for both them as well as those are affected, protein intake has to be good. So diet rich in proteins is required both for normal working of the enzymes and for the recovery of the patient as such. Protein rich diet among the non-veg, everybody knows that egg and chicken and meat, they are all rich source of protein. For the vegetarians, soya bean and pulses, they are really good source. Then nuts, they are really good source of it. Second, don't avoid fats in the children. Fats are very much important again for the normal recovery and for meeting the energy requirements of the patient. So those oils which are rich in omega-3 fatty acids and cis fats, they are to be taken. Like coconut oil is a good fat to be taken as such. Again, dry fruits, they are rich source of all the good quality fats. Carbohydrates, they constitute around about 60% of the total energy intake. Complex carbohydrates, that means the whole cereals, they have to be taken. Avoid pure sugars. Pure sugars mean simple sugar, beverages. These things have to be avoided. Complex carbohydrate means just some fruits and everything, that should be given. Lastly, liquid intake is very, very important because it is required for the normal metabolism and because of the losses of water and dehydration of the baby because of the illness. So approximately 20% of what you normal give, 20% extra of what you normal give, that has to be given to the patient. It may be in the form of plain simple water, it may be simple lassi, everything. Don't give beverages. You need to avoid beverages.
So I hope, Sahil, you got the answer. If you have further questions or just type it out. I think Zefi from YouTube, he is asking what kind of care a child needs post COVID. I think we have covered. If you want to sum up, कोई कुछ रह गया हो?
Post-COVID, one is like the patient is already suffering, so you need to rehabilitate nutritionally as such. Nutrition means both, as I told you, appropriate intake of all proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, and good amount of nutrition. Second, activity should not be restricted. It is like normally isolation means you make the child sit in a room and then he is sitting in front of a TV and watching a TV throughout the day. It should not be there. You should regulate the activities at home. Still, he can do some sort of yoga. Rather, the parents should also be involved along with the baby to do all these activities. These are all fun activities for the baby as such. Like in the adults, we say respiratory exercises. So what for the kids? Suppose somebody suffered pneumonia because of COVID. So how do you rehabilitate a child? He is not going to do any pranayam or something. So what do you do? They are very simple activities. Ask him to fill a balloon with air 3 times. Let us do who does it fastest. Okay. Sip water and blow bubbles into the water. It's as he is going to enjoy it. It can be a very fun activity. Third, he can do cycling. He can go outside, take proper precautions, but yes, those activities in which he is not involved with other activities, he can do. Let him go do cycling. You can play badminton with your kid. You can play basketball in case there is a court and you two are there as such. It's not absolutely necessary somebody else should come. He can do skating. So these things, they are easy to do. Still, he is not in contact with other kids, and still he is maintaining his physical growth as well as his respiratory capacities.
He can also enjoy the whistle also. Whistle can be
Yes,
a great
exactly.
tool
That is
for the
another
exercising.
activity. Once you whistle, so obviously the lungs will they are going to expand as such.
Hmm.
So these are all fun activities, and still they enjoy it as such.
Right, right. I think Zephy, आपको आंसर मिल गया इसका. तो अगर in last question, which is very very important, I mean, what is the routine for the vaccination?
Yes, in normal routine, in case there are few scenarios, first the parents they got COVID and because of some reason they can't come, then at least for the newborns in the first year of life, try to get vaccination in time. If there is some other caregiver who can bring the baby to the clinic for vaccination, he should go for it. Important point is take a pre-appointment. Most of the doctors these days they are avoiding sick patients in the clinic. They only ask for the vaccination or there are specific schedules for vaccination only. So pre-appointment, stick to your time. Don't. It should not be 3-4 people who accompany with the kid. One at the maximum, two people should come to the clinic. Avoid use of lifts when you are at some place. Say like my clinic is in Sapphire Mall, so it's better to come up by the staircase rather than coming by the lift. Avoid going to the places जहाँ पे centrally AC होगा. Avoid going to the hospitals. I would say better is going to the clinic and go for the vaccination. Then the other thing is like our kid got the COVID infection and now he has recovered. And when is the next vaccination that can be given? So it is after 2 weeks. There is a very clear-cut recommendation by Indian Academy of Pediatrics. Like if a baby has recovered, then after 2 weeks, the other vaccines they can be given. No issues at all.
Great. So Sahil from LinkedIn again, he's asking. I mean, the wave could be more dangerous for children. Do you want to answer this? I don't know.
There's I talked about it in between also that there's already talk about a third wave which will affect the children. From our perspective, if we say if the third wave is already on the way, it would be a right statement because already the number of patients they are very significant pediatric patients. There is something called MISC, multi-system inflammatory syndrome of childhood. So it is a dangerous condition. The number of cases are going to increase because the absolute number of COVID they are increasing. So that is one of the conditions in which the child has to be admitted in the hospital, and the course is quite stormy. So they are critical few days one has to go through, just like in the adult patients we are seeing these days, the ICUs they are full with the adult patients. So similar condition may occur because of the absolute number of the patients. From a individual perspective, all that you need to do is take a proper care, avoid infection as far as possible, and even if the our kid is infected, so it's more about keeping him cheerful, taking a proper nutritional care and a proper advice at the appropriate time, rather than treating on himself or herself. It's better to take a proper professional advice so that you don't land up in a trouble at a later time as such.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we are done. Thank you so much for all these answering all these questions. Viewers, if you have some questions, you can put out. We'll be end up this live session in another 1 minute. Any last advice, Dr. Dhama, you would like to give?
Maintain the SMS, social distancing, mask, and
Sanitizing.
sanitization. That is the only way you can get out of this wave. Otherwise, it's going to continue. Those societies like condominiums who are maintaining strict etiquette, they are still better off than the others who are not maintaining it. And once you acquire it, nobody can say that I am physically very fit, I can get out of it unharmed. So it's best, prevention is better than cure. That is the only way out of this wave.
Okay, great. Okay, I think we have done with all the questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Dhama, for joining in and taking out time for this lovely interactive session. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Dipankar. I think it was very concise, but the message has been conveyed, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, viewers, for joining in. We'll be coming live on Friday. So we'll be coming live on Friday for on immunity against COVID. So I'll be keep you posted for that. So it will be live on Friday 6 p.m. Right. So see you on Friday 6 p.m. Till then, bye bye. Stay safe. Take care. Bye bye.